Welcome back to another high-level match of StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a best-of-3 series of Terran versus Protoss, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on the map Data C. Spotting right here in the top right-hand corner, playing with the blue Protoss probes from South Korea, we have Classic. His opponent in the opposite corner with the red Terran SCVs, we are looking at ByuN's main command center. Alrighty, so ByuN facing off against Classic in another best-of-3. And I say another, that's because I think about a week or so ago, maybe a week and a half or so ago, I casted a best-of-3 between these two. In one of those particular games, Classic ended up doing a carrier rush, which was pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie, but I do think he played a little bit too conservative in that particular series. This match was played very recent, so yeah, we're gonna find out exactly what Classic has been up to since then, and apparently it involves a very, very fast pylon on the other side of the map. Alright, so there's already a gateway planted down at home, so this is not quite the max specs opener, but I do believe that if you're gonna send out a probe this early and you're gonna proxy your second pylon that quickly, you're gonna have to get something done. Okay, yeah. A second gateway does indeed come up. And I like this move. I've casted many of ByuN's games over the last couple of months, and ByuN, he's no longer a fan of the early game scouts. As a matter of fact, all the top-level Terran players from Korea right now just don't really like scouting very much. So he's decided to go for the barracks over here. Okay, so he's probably going to try and get a Reaper across. The thing is, even if the Reaper gets across and scouts this, that doesn't really tell him all too much, right? Like, it's very difficult for the Terran to figure out exactly what it is they're going up against. I don't think you can... Okay, I was going to say, I don't think you can rally like that. At least, it gives me a little bit of anxiety whenever I see that, because I've played plenty of Protoss, and I would get my Zealot stuck right over there. This rally, at the very least, ensures that that will not happen. Anyways, ByuN certainly, yeah, a little allergic right now to early game SCV scouts. Although, while he was rallied across the map, he's looking. So this is where that gateway is located. I don't think it's going to be scouted. All right. Zealot taking a long way towards the other side of the map. Adept coming out of the first gateway right now is a follow-up. Fair enough. And we see a Stalker already done here on the other side of the map. ByuN decided to go for the low ground command center, and this is what Classic is looking to hunt down. If he can force the cancel on that CC, he's in a fantastic position. I'm assuming at the very least he is going to expand behind this eventually himself as well, but obviously he needs to get something done in order to actually justify this aggression. Alright. There's the Zealot, finally arriving. ByuN still does not know. He hasn't even seen his opponent. He's going to find the Zealot right now. Getting the first hit in there is really nice. Just softening up whatever target you can. Now he sees the timing of that Stalker, so he should know that, yeah, this is certainly a double gateway opener. Does he have enough, however, to really push this back? And at this point, he certainly does not. And this is where the game gets really scary. If that CC does not finish, ByuN is in a lot of trouble. Okay, 4 SCVs pooled. 3 Reapers in total, by the way, here. Not quite what we normally see. Nice bit of micro here coming out of the Terran player. Classic trying his best to stay up to speed here, but he's busy target firing down the SCVs. Not entirely sure if that was really worthwhile. Apparently, the SCV with 1 hit point is the one tasked with finishing off that command center, okay? Now, all that ByuN really needs to do is buy time. All he needs to do is buy time for that CC to finish. Once it does, obviously, he can lift it, he can repair it and all that. Yeah, I think it's done. I think it's finished. Really stellar control here. He's not done fighting yet, though. Nice snipe right there, I guess, by Classic as well, but this opener is certainly going to put him on the back foot. It's so dangerous. Yeah, so... Oh, what? That was a little funky. What? That's... Okay, I'm not sure. Anyways, the problem is when you go for a scouting worker, every second that you're scouting with an SCV in the early game, or a probe, or a drone, you're missing about 0.8 minerals of potential mining time every second, right? So it adds up pretty quickly, especially if you think of the fact that it's going to take them like 2 minutes to go around the map and then come back home, if they even get back home in the first place. So I guess in a lot of players' minds, they'd rather spend those 100 or so resources on, you know, just getting an additional unit out instead, which makes sense, I suppose, in theory. It just seems so risky, but then again, it's not like we've seen the top-level Terrans really struggle in the early game too much. It's just that this game feels incredibly hectic, right? But alright, well, siege tank is out, Banshee is out as well. Okay. Thought he saw that siege tank, but apparently not. Nice shot. ByuN should be A-okay right now. Alright, so, big picture. Ooh, he's gonna try and sneak in again. Don't think so. Okay, another stalker. Big picture. Fantastic start right here for Terran, huh? Not necessarily a game-ending start, but certainly a good beginning. Especially if your name is ByuN. I've always got the feeling that the early game is, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. It always feels a little bit dicey, right? This early game felt really dicey for the Terran player, but ByuN consistently seems to be in a good spot regardless. Anyways, I feel like ByuN is probably at his scariest between, like, right now and the end of the game. You know what I mean? Like, his early game, I always feel like it is on a razor's edge the entire time, but anyways, in the meantime, apparently, okay. I think that was probably the Reapers together with a Hellion. I actually have this fancy screen right over here. Yeah, that's actually pretty sick. I've never really used this in replays before. Most of the time in replays, this doesn't work, but this is the battle report. So the battle report, rather than like this screen that I normally use, which is like an overall screen for the entire game so far, it allows us to have a look at the exchange for just the previous battle. And there's like a... It like resets after a while when there's no, you know, battle detected anymore. I'm not exactly sure what the criteria are, but certainly pretty cool if I remember to actually use it, because it barely ever works in replays, but I think this is pretty neat. Anyhow. Banshee, apparently now feeling pretty good about herself, decides to go across the map. There's multiple siege tanks out, so I don't think that ByuN is really going to take a lot of damage, so the Banshee should indeed be good on the other side of the map. Quite a few stalkers at home. Quite a few stalkers still camping at the bottom of the natural ramp right here of Terran 2. Let's see if the Banshee pilot can get any working. Blink is done. Yeah. Okay. Uncharacteristic micro mistake right there from ByuN, although maybe he assumed that there would only be stalkers at the bottom of his ramp, so maybe he didn't think there was going to be anything inside of the main base. Observer now available too, yep. So this is where Classic can start being really annoying. Sniping 2 SCVs, looks like the reactor is gonna go down. Siege tanks are sieging up, but Blink already once again off cooldown, so he can get out of there without a whole lot of trouble. Third Nexus at this point is done. Third Command Center just about to finish up as well. This is where ByuN can start picking up the pace. So up to this point, about 361 average actions per minute. Wouldn't be surprised if once the double drops will really start happening and all that, that ByuN is going to go a little bit higher as far as that number goes. Scan over there just to see roughly what's going on. He still, by the way, hasn't picked this off. He actually considered it just now with the Medivacs, but apparently opting to just play it safe for now. Good snipe right there. Lovely work here by Classic over the last couple of minutes. Okay. Yeah, getting freebies left, right, and center. Don't mind seeing that. ByuN a little indecisive right now with the Medivacs. He's probably thinking of taking down this right over here. But he's also seen the amount of stalkers at the bottom of his ramp. So in his mind, he's probably thinking, okay, there's a good chance there's not that much available at home. And he would certainly be correct here. Okay, lovely little drop. Ooh, squeezing the units right there in between these gateways. Recall being used on a bunch of the stalkers, and they're gonna come back home! Very close. Can he snipe that? Okay, he's hunting. He's hunting. Boost at this point is worn off. Okay. 10 supply first troubles. You know what? Even though I was hyping up ByuN. Yeah, from the position he was just... Oh, he was just in. It's Classic who has been severely outplaying ByuN here over the last couple of minutes. Very, very nice. Alright, now the stalker count is huge though. 20 stalkers here available in total. Does he have enough to break through this? Obviously, ByuN's macro has been on point. That's to be expected at this level of play. Fourth Nexus just gets scanned up north as well, so this is by no means an all-in right here from Classic, but he is looking to push forward. Aggressive blink as well. Okay, trying to split against these units. Anti-armor missile as well, softening up a bunch of these targets. Siege tank on the high ground, having an absolute field day. Second Immortal still available too. Yeah, and that fight did not go as well. as Classic had envisioned. So, hey, look at that. The screen over here, actually fantastic. Yeah, so this is where it is. This is cool. So 30 blinks were used. 1 anti-armor missile. Stimpack certainly was used as well, but maybe that doesn't count. Anyhow, you can see the units killed on both sides. I really like this screen. Yeah, so this actually tells us exactly how much these players have lost. And now the next battle, apparently, I think that means, yeah, the reset. Okay. Or maybe it's something that got calculated out of the replay file? That's actually very interesting, because it had a specific countdown of when the next battle begins. Which it would not be able to calculate, you know, in a live game. So just to clarify, by the way, replay files in SC2 are literally just .sc2 replay files. So that's all it is. I cannot change those in any way other than like with my observer interface. But some of the features have to basically be calculated, you know, when the game is being played live. So I can't actually add some of those features to the replays. They have to already be there. Unless, like, there's a way to do so that I am unaware of. But I'm fairly sure that that is not possible. Anyways, ByuN taking some really stellar engagements here. Ghosts are coming out as well. Love to see those. And now suddenly he finds himself at a solid lead. Then again, you know I gotta say it, right? I know I say this every single time I'm casting a Protoss versus Terran. But this is just one bad disruptor hit away from still being a good game for Classic. Anyways, double upgrades here coming up here for Mr. ByuN. Single upgrades here in the meantime for Classic. But of course, disruptors don't really care about upgrades. They basically deal a metric fuck ton of damage regardless of their upgrades. I think that's how that works. Swearing in YouTube videos, is that even allowed? I don't know. Do I have to bleep that out? Probably not. No, I think we're good. I mean, I probably should, but I'm also way too lazy to actually go back into the, you know, the edit and then, you know, pull that off, so. Anyway. I think what we should see right now from ByuN is an all-out attack as soon as 2-2 finishes. It's gonna be Marine Marauder, Medevac, Ghost. That is a very strong army. Oh, also some Widow Mines. Sorry, didn't mean to forget about you guys. You're good at, you know, keeping those zealots at bay, but there's not that many of them yet. Well, there you go. Disruptor. Get sniped. Beautiful. Oh, good split right there as well from our Terran. Okay. Those last two, not as great, but... Or the last one, rather. Not as great. But you can see, as soon as the Disruptor is on cooldown, these armies here from the Terran and the Protoss just trade way better for the Terran. Ooh, there goes Jimmy. Bit of an anti-timing, though. Like, whenever you're doing a fight right before upgrades are done, you probably shouldn't have fought. I mean, I know it's tempting. Oh, yeah, here we go again. This is something that ByuN can just never stop doing. So risky. It already went poorly for him earlier, but hey, this one certainly seems like it can pay off. Then again, there are disruptors in the mix. Oh god, those bowling balls are going all around the base. Yeah, that's SimCity not working in favor here of the Protoss player at all. Disruptors get sniped left, right, and center, and he does decide to boost on out of there. Somehow he always seems to put the units in the right ones. That's kind of interesting. I'm fairly sure that is at least a little bit of coincidence, but it always seems to me that ByuN has the units in the right medevac, the ones that do not get targeted down. He's always got like 2 medevacs, you know, facing the enemy, where they're unlikely to get targeted first. He consistently seems to do that, so I have no idea how you would decide what medevac to pick up on, though, other than, like, you know, when they're all clumped up together, you kind of gotta get a little bit lucky, right? But anyways, here we go. Fights happening in multiple areas. Main base looking like it's gonna get cleaned up eventually, but it's gonna take a lot of reinforcements. At the same time, the fight over here also held by Classic, but this base certainly is not gonna hold. You can see that indeed the actions per minute has been picked up. Okay, those fights not ideal at all. He's still fighting in the main base. But yeah, despite the fact that all of those traits are not amazing for our Terran player, they're all pretty good. If we look at the battle report, hey, there it is. You can see that it's just a couple 100 minerals here and there, a couple resources lost more here and there, and then eventually the Terran ends up with like 40 more supply, and you wonder where it came from. It's just traits that go ever so slightly better over the course of a game. Anyways, we're not quite there yet, but that is certainly what ByuN is hunting for right now. We've seen him do that time and time again. That's kind of the problem as well with disruptors. Like, technically speaking, they're amazing and they can deal a lot of damage. But if you have a Terran player of the caliber of Mr. ByuN, it's really difficult to consistently get the value out of that unit that you're looking for. Like, it works really well against weaker players. I always get a little concerned, man, whenever I see ByuN picking up the pace this much. So in case you're unfamiliar, ByuN has, historically at least, had a lot of wrist issues. I don't know how he's doing with his wrists these days, but whenever I see the man going 600 actions per minute, that's what goes through my mind, okay? Maybe I'm a boomer or something, I'm not sure, but... Sorry, Marauders. I'm always like, oh, ByuN, are you sure you should be pushing it? I'm like a concerned grandma. Just play the parade push, man. All the Terran players in the world love the parade push. It's like, no, ByuN is like, no, I need to fight on the flanks. Only the flanks, and the flanks alone. Anyways. He's certainly playing aggressively here. These traits are going well for him, but it's not like Classic is getting the worst of exchanges. Oh! Okay, I was gonna say. Oh, he unloads again. That's a Disruptor going down. Yeah, if he gets one good hit, Classic is fully back into this game. He's got good upgrades here as well. Should be able to put down the infrastructure once again in the main base. Oh, nice pickup. And once the pylons are set up once again, he should be able to get quite a few reinforcements going. There you go. He's got quite a bit of money in the bank here, but +3 is finishing up. Yeah, Classic is actually still in this. Okay, those snipes are fantastic though. Getting rid of whatever he can. Another massive EMP goes down. Zealot is the only unit that got hit over there, if I'm not mistaken. At least to one of those Disruption Purification Novas. Now he's securing a 5th command center right over here as well. And I'm assuming this one is going to morph into a planetary fortress here in just a moment. Another Medevac Doom drop up north. Is this really what ByuN needs to do at this point in the game? Really? No. He's at a solid lead. Supply count looking amazing for him. So he's like, you know what? Let me put my advantage into a bunch of Medevacs and cross my fingers and hope the Stalkers are not right there when I unload. Anyways. Oh, he's such a crazy guy. So micro-focused. Fantastic player, man. But certainly a bit of a gambler as well, huh? ByuN putting the Hearthstone in StarCraft 2. A little bit less chess, a little bit more RNG. Anyways, the traits over the last, really like 8 minutes have just been superior for the Terran. And while there have been some that aren't as great, right? Some engagements here that are not as worthwhile. ByuN has got a lot more on the back of it. And you can see that the traits, over time, 175 versus 84 supply. They have gone heavily in favor of the Terran player. Very nice back and forth here from Classic. Certainly a lot more aggressive this time around as well in the early game from Classic compared to what we saw a week ago. But I don't think it's going to be enough right here in game number 1 of this series. Okay. Eventually something got some damage in. That's nice. Still a drop going on as well in the back of the natural. 4th command center ended up going down, but eventually GG has to be called as ByuN dominates in the second half of game number 1. Alright. Our next map is Stargazers. Let me actually look at the statistics real quick for the Terran versus Protoss matchup on the maps that we're seeing today, because it's been a little bit. So Terran versus Protoss on Data C has about a 57% win rate for the Terran player at professional level in tournaments. So quite a significant advantage right there for Terran. What about Stargazers? Let me have a quick little peek. Stargazers has a 47% win rate in the Terran versus Protoss matchup for Protoss. So both Stargazers as well as Data C, not quite the best maps right here for Classic. That being said, the way that these tournaments work is if we're, say, playing a best-of-3 series, there are 7 maps in the current map pool. Both players will get to veto 2 maps each. And whenever they are done vetoing, they will take turns as to what maps will be played in what order. And because of that, I'm assuming ByuN was the one that chose Data C and Classic is the one that chose Stargazers. Maybe Mr. Classic has got something in store for us here. We'll see. Or maybe he just really likes playing this map. I've noticed that as well, actually, in the past. Like, sometimes maybe I play Zerg myself mostly, right? And sometimes maybe there's a map that I really... I know that it doesn't have a particularly great win rate in one of the matchups. So say there's a map where Zerg overall at the pro level has 40% win rate. But it just feels really good to me. I think I should in those circumstances still just keep playing those types of games anyways. Once again, ByuN playing a very greedy little match here. Are we gonna go? Yeah, we're gonna go straight reactor. So again, absolutely 0 scouting. I mean, I guess right now he's scouting his own natural, but fair enough. 1 Marine straight into a reactor. Command center on the pocket expansion. So that's going to be fantastic, of course, once this finishes up, but certainly a little bit greedy. And ByuN is definitely taking a chance here. Then again, Classic. I know that in the previous game we decided to go for a bit of a cheeky opener. Really? Are we going to go for a 3rd command center? We are. Okay. In the previous game, Classic went for a bit of a cheeky opener with the double gateway approach. And if he were to do that in this game, he's going to be in a fantastic spot. But normally, Classic doesn't really play those builds all too frequently. So maybe Classic, in ByuN's mind, is not someone who's going to do that twice in a best-of-3. And because of that, he decides to cut a corner. We see players oftentimes when they're 1-0 ahead in a best-of-3 series take a cheesy approach in the second game of a match. This is the opposite end of the cheese spectrum, I suppose, where it's certainly cheesy, but in a very economical way, right? ByuN taking a very significant risk, basically making 3 command centers off of just a single Marine, which is about as bad as it sounds if the opponent decides to get aggressive. Anyways, none of that is happening here. So the gamble has paid off. We did see a probe moving down south earlier. I thought for a second that maybe Classic would go for the gold base, which I would have really liked to see. Because, well, he's got all the freedom in the world to be mining those golden minerals. But it's not going to happen. At least not right now. Okay, does that automatically mean that Classic is in a horrible spot? No, definitely not. He's decided to go for a straight Blink opener. And Blink is really good on this map, especially once you get past these couple of mineral fields over here. You can get into your opponent's bases pretty easily. And I think that's what ByuN is probably mostly concerned for. That's what we see most of the time on this particular map. It's going to be a triple barracks opener. I'm assuming another tech lab over here. I'm assuming another tech lab over... Oh, no. Really? Interesting. So I thought maybe you wanted to go for the double upgrade a little bit quicker. But maybe Mr. ByuN is well aware of how this map plays out and he realizes, you know what? Against this Blink opener, I can't really afford going for another tech lab at this point. I need to make sure that I... Like, he doesn't know that it's a Blink opener, right? But I need to make sure that I have enough stuff by the time that those stalkers can potentially get towards my side of the map. Yeah, so he's setting himself up right now for a nice little defense. Prioritizing the +1 infantry weapons instead. In the meantime, 3rd command center, Nexus coming up here for Classic. So what he does is he grabs the watchtower, which provides him vision right over here, and now the stalkers can blink past those mineral fields. Going very deep over here, though. That's a lot of Marines. What a cool little opener here from ByuN. Very greedy, but very good. Do you not go for a bunker over here as well, or something along those lines? I'm not 100% sure, but it doesn't seem like it would be a terrible idea. Okay, so now he's pumping out Marauders 2 at a time, too. And that should make this quite a bit better. So, the next time around that our Terran player is going to be dealing with the Stalkers, Marauders are going to be part of the battle, and they deal a lot more damage. Okay. No Metavex or anything like that, right? So every stim we see right here Yeah, quite painful. I would love to see concussive shells and combat shields. There you go. Another stim. Classic gonna start the multitasking right now as well. Try to hit the opponent at a couple different angles at once, and he's doing an excellent job here so far. Yep. Maximizing the damage he can get out of that. We really need to stay on top of the production though, because that production tab has looked mightily empty here for Classic for quite a while. Wouldn't mind seeing him just expand even more. Like, ByuN is not gonna move out until he's got a larger army. Okay, these traits are looking a whole lot better here for Classic. Oh god, that blink was unfortunate though. Yeah, those two units are stuck. Let's look at the battle report. Yeah. 30 blinks being used, but not enough to keep all those stalkers alive. You gotta be so cautious. Okay, now it is critical, of course, that you get some heavy hitters by the time that those Terran units do get across the map. I mean, you can stick around on Mass Stalker if you really want to, but it's very common to see this opener. And then for players to go into the robo play. Okay, now this trade over here is also looking really sweet. Yeah, ByuN forced to split up his units. I do believe that in the end, all of those stalkers will fall, and that might be a bit much, actually. The trade there initially pretty great, but he did not retreat in time. So again, a lot of these traits going ever so slightly in favor of our Terran player. That one wasn't even ever so slightly in favor of the Terran player. That was a bit of a disaster there for Classic in the end. One thing, though, that Classic has going for him at this point is 63 workers versus 45 SCVs. But, of course, mules are pretty sweet. And just getting some additional income here from those is going to be pretty nice here for ByuN in just a moment. So that's exactly why he's got these minerals mined right now with those yellow machines. But as soon as they return resources, this goes a whole lot better for the Terran. Alright. So let's see. Colossus coming up. It's the second Colossus. Charge not done just yet, but I think it should finish about half a minute or so from now. There's not a whole lot of Terran units available, but that's because ByuN once again has decided to split up his forces. Now at the 6 o'clock position, Classic goes for the gold base. He could have had that one mining for like 5 minutes. Like literally. Anyhow, this is where the multitasking begins for the Terran. ByuN has successfully survived the early game. As a matter of fact, I think he's thriving right now. And this is where I think the man is at his scariest. That is a free Colossus. You hate to see that. Colossus over here also in a lot of trouble. Okay, it will get picked off as well. Widowmines just burrow in the mineral line. And upon losing those laser giraffes, Classic realizes the writing is on the wall. And because of that, it's ByuN who obtains the victory in this best of 3 series.